so that I don't have to repeat again. Okay, thank you everyone for coming. Yeah, one of the reasons why I put together this PowerPoint, actually I put it together some time ago, but didn't have the time uh, to share with all of you. I think very important thing is when we study Hebrew, we must understand why we study Hebrew. One of the reasons why we study Hebrew is because it is the biblical languages, one of the two biblical languages used for the Old Testament, and then New Testament it is Greek. Okay, so in order for us to understand the Bible better, we read it in the original languages. It will help us a lot. So when we compare, for example, the Hebrew and the English Bible, okay, the English Bible has been translated for our sake because we don't understand Hebrew originally. You know, most of us cannot read or speak Hebrew. So the English translation has been very, very useful for the last, um, you know, 400-500 years since the King James Version was translated. Okay, the English translation of the Bible, sometimes what happens is that it is okay, it's accurate. Okay, it is accurate, right? But it's just that some of the nuances in Hebrew has is lost, you know, when in the process of translation. In other words, if you say, for example, if you want to understand somebody in the language that or the language that he speaks, you know, you must actually be able to speak his language and understand his language so that you get a clearer picture. So that's why when we study Hebrew, we need to actually learn as well the grammar. Okay, grammar is something very important. This is what I often say. You know, God is a perfect grammarian. Okay, his grammar is perfect. Okay, it is if he wants to say I will come, he will use I will come. He won't say I was coming or I will be coming or whatever. You know that he uses the correct grammar to tell us exactly what he wants us to know, right? So it is the Bible is written in a very perfect grammar. Okay, that is one of the reasons why we must understand Hebrew, right to the bottom, the grammar itself, because there are many layers and many nuances in the word. If we understand the grammar that's used, okay, and so all this, like I mentioned just now, all these nuances are lost because when we do the translation, for example, we don't see, we don't see it that clearly when it is translated into another language. You see, a lot of poems, for example, when it's translated into another language, the beauty of that poem is lost. Okay, I'm sure Chinese or Hindi, we have poems as well, but when it's translated into English, you don't see the real meaning behind it. So that is why we go into the actual language, okay, the biblical languages. One of the two biblical languages that God gives us is Hebrew. Okay, I have to make a disclaimer here. I am not trying to say that I'm not trying to say that when we learn Hebrew, we will be able to find the secret or the hidden meanings, behind every alphabet. Okay, I think that is okay if you say that as a devotional thought, right? And I always say it's just a devotional thought. It's never taught in the Bible at all. I give you an illustration. For example, this letter A here. Okay, this letter A here. Okay, if I may mesmerize you. Okay, it is actually made of two little letters here. One is a C, and then the other one is a bent I, right? It's a bent I. So in other words, the letter A tells us, that with Christ, okay, our ego is bent towards Christ. So that's just an illustration. It's not, it's not what the letter A is supposed to mean. Okay, and then what about this other letter, the capital letter A? You know, I can say this is Jacob's ladder, you know. And if I tell you, you know, when we are standing over here, when we are standing over here, okay, the ladder is broader, but as it goes higher up and, you know, further up and all the way to heaven, you know, you cannot actually see it as broad as what we see it at the bottom. So it's like an A like that, you know, it's a capital A. So these are two letters, okay? We don't want to say that, you know, the Hebrew letters, for example, has got hidden meanings, you know, which is never thought of in the Bible. They can be used as illustrations, okay, as just for devotional thoughts, just to illustrate as a point. But it's never meant to be. The Hebrew letters are never meant to, to to convey a message. Okay, the Bible itself has got a message, and the message in the Bible is actually very clear. There's no more hidden mysteries and so on. In the Old Testament time, yes, there were mysteries about the coming of the Messiah. Nobody knew what this Messiah was going to be. The prophets did not know, and they didn't even understand what they were saying, right? But when the New Testament time arrives and Jesus was born, you know, the unfolding of this mystery is no longer. I mean, it became more obvious to people that, you know, this Messiah was Jesus. So there are no more, in that sense, hidden meanings, you know, behind certain things and so on. So letters of the alphabet, we must be careful not to say that it is, you know, some kind of hidden meaning. So that is one thing I want to make as a disclaimer here. Now let's look at, for example, the three verses, right? The Aaronic blessings. We all know this is the blessing that Aaron gave to the people of Israel. Okay, we from here I can show you some of the things as I study the Bible, and using the Concordance Bible, it gives me all the meanings and so on. Okay, let me just begin by saying that, you know, when in English or in our present context, when we talk about time, okay, we always talk about past tense, present tense, and future tense, right? We're talking about past tense, present tense, future tense. Now, in English grammar, we say, I did this, I'm doing this, okay, I will be doing this, okay, or I will do this, right? So these are the tenses that we will talk about, past, present, and future, okay? But in Hebrew, they are talking about types of actions, okay? They are not talking so much about the time. So past tense, present tense, and future tense is not important in Hebrew. And in Greek also the same thing as well. They don't look at past tense, present tense, and future. Instead, what they look at is the completed actions. They tell you the completed actions. It can be in the past, it can be in the present, okay, or it can be in the future. So they are only interested to tell you the completed actions. The other set of that's what we call the perfective tense. Perfective tense, okay? So they don't have past tense, present tense, or future tense, but they have this thing called perfective tense, or the completed actions, okay? Right. So the other one is a continuous action here. See, it is continuous action happening, and is still happening, and still will still be happening. Okay, and this is what we call the imperfective tense. So perfective tense means completed action. It's telling you it's very completed already. Okay, the imperfective tense is talking about a continuous action that's happening. So the verb aspects, okay, in Hebrew is important for us to understand. Okay, now we see here there are two halves. One is the perfective and one's the imperfective, right? And then we divide it into four quadrants. Okay, the first one we call it the katal. Okay, don't worry about all these terms because this one you will over time you will learn it. Okay, right? Katal. Then we have the yikto. Okay, and then we have the katal and wayikto. Okay, what these are is just look at the explanation given here. The katal, okay, katal verbs, okay, the verbs, the katal verbs is a completed action, okay. as I explained earlier, is a completed action. It's telling you something has happened. It doesn't tell you when it happened, okay, but it just tells you already happened, okay, already happened. So there's no specific time indicated, right? And it tells you it happened already, okay, all right. So if I were to say, for example, Jesus was born in Bethlehem, you know, so I would use the kata verb, okay, a verb that tells you that it already happened already. It already happened already. It may not tell you exactly when it happened, okay, but it tells you it already happened, okay. For the yikto verb, okay, is the other set that I mentioned earlier, is a continuous action, okay. It is happening. It's still happening. There's no time indicated, okay. It may be talking about an incident that was happening in the past, okay, or talking about an incident that will be happening in the future, okay. So it is a continuous thing. So remember, there's no past tense, present tense, and future tense, okay. It's only telling you, okay, what has already been completed. It already happened already. They tell you, okay, this is they use the kata verbs to explain, this happened already. The other one is, this is happening, this was happening, or this will be happening, okay. So no specific time indicated, okay, and it tells you it is still happening, okay. So these are the two verbs that you will see later, okay. The other two verbs that classes of verb that you see is a waito and vekatal tools. Okay, you see here katal and you see vekatal, okay. Katal is something like what we would call a past tense, okay. It's not exactly past tense, but it is completed action. The vekatal would be just the opposite, okay, just an opposite. That means it will be by using the same kata here and then just put the way, that means the waf and the shiva or something like that, huh? Okay, then um, it makes it a continuous action really. That's why it is in this half of the the what do you call that, the quadrants here, half this side here is imperfective. That's why it's vekatal. Whereas katal is perfective. So vekatal is imperfective. And then waito is just the opposite of the iko. Okay, iko, as you know, is a continuous action. But when you put a wa there, okay, into the verb, it actually tells you this thing already happened. Okay, so why is this so? Okay, why is this so? I can't really tell. It's just the way how Hebrew is structured. Okay, because I haven't come to that level of understanding why it is, why it crosses out the past and then become the future. This one become um, what do you call that, past kind of thing, and then this is present or future. Okay, so this is what we call the verb consecutive or the verb conversive, right? When you study Hebrew next time, when you do it at the seminary or any of the institutions or universities, and you actually do a proper study of Hebrew, you will actually come across words like verb consecutive or verb conversive. Okay, so looking at Numbers chapter 2, verse 24 to 26. Okay, it says, Yevarekeka Adonai Weish Mereka. Ya'er Adonai Pana Eleka Vehu Neka. Yisha Adonai Pana Eleka Vayeshem Leka Shalom. Okay, it took me a long time for me to actually learn to read it smoothly. It doesn't come, like that. Okay, I had to kind of like figure out, for example, now you are actually looking at the yod and the shiva, this is rev, not bav, then slowly you learn, okay, and then these words become part of you, and you kind of remember them slowly. Uh, and what's important is, um, as you build your vocabulary, you will also understand the meaning of what you are reading as well. So what I do often is I would write down on a piece of paper. Okay, I'll write down a piece of paper, and like, I don't know whether you can see it here. I'll write down, the spelling itself. It's just like when we are in primary school, we have spelling. Ejaan, things, or I'm not sure in Hindi what you call that, but spelling, okay? I would try to spell it out many times. I will write it on a piece of paper many times, okay, so that I remember, okay? And then after some time, when I learn all these words already, okay, then I will try to read it again and try to read like how the Hebrew native speaker would read. Okay, Yevarekika Adonai Reish Mareka. I listen to the audio and I try to listen and learn from that. Okay, so after some time, you will be able to, when you look at this word, you can actually read it straight away already because you are able to recognize it, right? Not at the stage of going one by one, the syllables, but you'll be able to read it straight away. Okay, so even if I look at this word, I can say Eleka. Okay, when I look at this word, I can say Vayashem. Okay, Vayashem, right? Sometime last year in May, when I was starting to learn Hebrew, I wouldn't be able to read that smoothly. So just be encouraged. Okay, at this stage, you are learning step by step. Okay, and if you put on your efforts to learn the word, the words here slowly, it becomes part of your vocabulary. And when you look at this word here straight away, you know this is eleka. You don't have to hesitate anymore because you already seen this word many times, or you have already worked this into your system. It's like reading English now. Okay, you look at the word straight away, you know the word. You don't have to kind of struggle and see how to pronounce it, the syllables. So that's why the Saturday Bible reading that is hosted by Sister Rita is actually very useful. And if some of you can come together, on and off different days of the week, to read the Hebrew Bible together, okay, it's very useful because it will give you that motivation when you are together with other brothers and sisters. Yeah. So this is the few verses that we're going to look at, not just the meaning, but also the grammar as well. Okay. Okay. Let's look at this part, this verse 24. Okay, this verse 24 here. Okay, if you look at the word yevarekaka, okay, you look at this word Vav, or if you have a dot there is Vav, okay, this Vav, Rash, and Kaf here. Okay, these are three consonants, okay, that actually mean, mean bless. Okay, you see, look at this here. That the three consonants here actually means to bless. Okay, to bless. So the pronunciation is Yevarek, Yevarek, okay, without the ka here, Yevarek. Okay, so this is what we call the PL imperfect verb. Okay, I'm going to show you what it means by PL imperfect. Okay, and then why it's called third masculine. Okay, third masculine. Okay, let me explain the third masculine first. Third person masculine, actually, third person masculine singular. Okay, third person means he, she, it. Okay, they, and so on. Okay, masculine means it's a male. Okay, referring to a male. Singular, so it cannot be they already. So it's either he or it has to be he or him. Okay, so because it's masculine, right? So you will look, if you look at this word itself, you know that Aaron was actually speaking to a group of people, a group of men. Okay, group of men. Okay, and if you look at this last suffix here, ka here, right? You know that he is actually referring to individuals. So this Aaronic blessing, although he was pronouncing it to a group of people, a group of men out there, he was actually saying it to them individually. Okay, why do I say that? Because you look at the car here, okay, refers to the masculine, third person, it refers to the second person masculine, right? Okay, so this one actually uh, is singular. It's singular. If you want to say plural, then you use the word cam or can. Okay, cam is plural. Car is singular. Okay, ka is singular. If you say kem, alekem, for example, shalom, alekem, you're actually referring to the plural you. Okay, but if you say aleka shalom, that means it's only one person, individual. Okay, so in other words, when Aaron spoke this word of blessing, it is actually very, very personal, okay, to the individuals, right? And God actually deals and He knows the names of the individuals. So this is why the even the blessings that is mentioned here is actually to specific individuals in the congregation. Okay, so he's not just referring to the group of people, you know, that's it. But he was actually referring to individuals in the group itself. Okay, now the word PL here, okay, you see that's why you say, like for example, Psalms 119. You see, you look at the three consonants. It says same three consonants here. Okay, the Bev, Resh, and the Kaf. Okay, so it simply means bless. Baru Ata Adonai. Okay, that means blessed be you, O Lord. Okay, so bless, this word is bless. Okay, and then you look at the PL here. Okay, right? PL. What does the PL mean? If you learn the grammar, Hebrew grammar, you will understand. Okay, in Hebrew they have seven categories, seven what do you call that, classes of verbs. Okay, why seven classes of verbs, and why in English we don't have it? Okay, in English we do have verbs that are related to each other. Okay, they are related to each other, but somehow we know that they are different words. Okay, different words. For example, write, write. I write a letter. Okay, write a letter. That means I doesn't involve other people. I write a letter. Okay, I cause somebody. I cause CAUSE. Yeah, I cause somebody to write. That means I dictate. Means I cause somebody to write. I make somebody write. I say it, and the person writes it. I cause somebody to write. Okay, I dictate. Okay, and then there's another word which is correspond. Okay, correspond. So this correspond here is I write to you and you write back to me, I write back to you and you write back to me. Okay, so these are the three words that will tell you, okay, there's the same action is writing as well. Okay, one is I write the letter myself. The other one is I say it and I cause somebody else to write it. I cause him to write it. Okay, I cause him to write it. And the third one is I write and you write back. That means there is a what do you call that, response, okay, or reflexive kind of response, right? So this is already three classes of verbs in English, but they use different words, okay, different words. Whereas in Hebrew, it's actually very straightforward. They use the root words, the same root words, and they add just the conjugations in front and the back. There's the suffix and the sorry, the prefix and the suffix. All right, the same root word, okay, but it will give you a different type of meaning, different type of meaning. Like in English just now, I said the word write, okay? I cause him to write, that means I dictate, he writes. I cause him to write. I correspond, that means I write, he writes back, okay? So you already got the three classes already, but in Hebrew, it's the same root letter here, you just add in the conjugations only, and you already got seven different classes already. You know, it can be passive, can be active, uh, can be what they call that, intensive, very intensive, you know, or it can be reflexive, okay, or just a simple action. Okay, so this is the PL. PL, it means intensive type of action with an active voice. Okay, now don't worry about all this here yet, okay, because you will learn PL is actually intensive. Okay, right? Intensive, that means there is some kind of intensive action in what Aaron was doing when he blessed, the people. When he blessed the people, there was a lot of emotive, what do you call that, emotions involved when he, or energy involved when he blessed the people. It's not like in Cantonese or Mandarin it says 随便 bless people. No, it was actually a very intensive involvement in his part. So that's why it is a PL. A PL is usually represented by this yod here in front of uh, the basic root words for the word bless, barak or baruch, or Beth, Resh, and Kaf. Okay, so by adding this one here, you know this is a PL, and by a PL, you know that this is an intensive action with an active voice. Okay, active voice meaning he is doing it active voice. Okay, not he not okay. You know that active and the passive voice in English, right? The active voice is you do something. Okay, like for example, you kick the ball. Okay, but the passive voice is the ball is kicked by you. Okay, the ball is kicked by you. But here is an active voice. That means he did it. All right. Instead of he, it was done by him. It's in a very active, in a very active voice. So this Yevarekeka, okay, actually it tells us that when Aaron blessed the people of Israel, he actually blessed them individually. Okay, in one sentence, Yevarekeka. Okay, that means to every one of them, he tells them, God bless you, okay, and keep you. Okay. Now, this of course is lost when it's translated in English, because in English the you here can refer to both masculine and plural. Sorry, masculine or feminine. It can be singular or plural. Okay, but in Hebrew, ha here is a masculine, is a singular as well. Okay, so this is where it is beautiful because we can actually see, God dealing with the people of Israel as individuals. They are all individuals to Him, right? Although they may be a congregation, but they were all important to Him as individuals. Okay. Then you see the imperfect. Okay, imperfect again, right? Remember just now I show you the chart. Imperfect, that means it's a continuous action. It's a continuous action. Imperfect tense, okay, is a continuous action. So when Aaron gave this blessing, okay, it was not as though, okay, it's a I bless you and that's it. It is an ongoing process. It is something that you can see. It's like, it's a circle. You see, when we bless God, Baruch Atah Adonai, okay, we are blessing God like an arrow here. I show here the arrow here, right? God blesses us in return. So it is in worship, it is like, you bless the Lord and the Lord will bless you in return. So it's a cycle, and this is a beauty of the of understanding the Hebrew grammar, so that you are able to see the process is a continuous action as well. That's why I had this circle here to tell us that this is actually ongoing. It happened during Aaron's time, and it's still happening even today when this Aaronic blessing is pronounced on people. Okay, so I think this will give you that idea um, why we need to learn the Hebrew grammar. You will see in other verses as well, more or less the same thing I will show you. Okay, okay. This word is Vayish Mareka. Okay, Vayish Mareka is actually from the three letter shoresh. You call it the shoresh or the root word. Okay, the root word is actually from these three letters here: Shin, Mim, and Resh. Okay, so this is Shin, Mem, and Resh is a call imperfect. Okay, call imperfect. Okay, as we know, is a yik tol. Okay, remember the four quadrants. Yik tol is the imperfect tense. Okay, imperfect tense. And yiktol it means that it is continuous action. It's a continuous action. So a count imperfect or the yiktol, okay, will tell us it's a continuous action. Okay. And if you look at the word jasif here, okay, jasif, what does it mean by jasif? Okay, jasif means it is it expresses some type of mild command or strong wish. Okay, so when we look at this verse here, it say Yeberekeka Adonai Veyish Mereka is actually a strong wish on the part of the priest, you know, and he actually means it. He wants it from his heart that God will bless and keep, you know, the people in each and every one of them. Okay, so you can see even with all this here that you often see in the dictionaries or lexicons. Okay, you understand, for example, the jasif, then you see the actual meaning in this word itself. Okay, I think I have already explained, you know, that the man of God actually, or the priest, you know, in this case is Aaron, and it can also happen even today. Okay, the man of God who pronounced this blessing has a strong wish or strong desire or strong a mild command. Okay, it's not the imperative of giving a strong command, but it's a mild command. Okay, for God to keep, you know, or preserve or watch over his flock. Okay, and this is what we see in this verse here. And let me just take this away. So the use of the way here also shows that the blessing and the blessing and keeping our part of the covenant, okay, is interconnected. Okay, there's a way here, right? That means it's an and, okay, and okay. I have to go back to my notes again on this part here. I will just explain it later. Okay. So Ya'er Adonai Panav Eleka Vehu Neka. Okay. See the word Ya'er again, right? Can anyone guess what verb is this? If I say there's a yod here. Okay, now I think I will show you, right? First, I show you the word Aleph, Waw, and Resh. Okay. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 3, Yehi or Wahi o. Okay. Let there be light, and there was light. Right? Or here is light. Okay. So Ya'er means what? Ya'er means light shines. The light shines. They're just using the root word from or here, right? Okay, when they use it for Ya'er, somehow this Wav actually goes missing. That this happens in Hebrew a lot. So or and Ya'er, actually the root word is Aleph, Wav, and Rash. Okay, so Ya'er actually it means the light shine. Okay, shine on you. Okay, so you see here Ya'er. Okay. Okay, you see this is Genesis 1 verse 3. Yeah, you see the or here, or, okay, or, and this is basically to talk about light. Yeah, means it's an action, it's a verb. Okay, and this yeah is a he feel, okay, right? This may be a bit confusing for you at this point, but once you start learning all these different binyan's, and you can see the meaning that I'm explaining here. But I'm just giving a few of the Hebrew language so that you can see why, you know, like for example, why I spend so much time on just learning the grammar. Okay, and I think there are a couple of other people who have actually said that as well, and they actually spent a year just to learn the Hebrew grammar. Okay, because it gives you a very much more rich understanding of the words itself. Okay, like the word he feel here, he feel is a kind of verb, a class of verb. It expresses causative action with an active voice. Okay, it's not passive voice, it's an active voice. It's a causative action. Okay, meaning what? Like I said, I dictate. Okay, that means I tell the person, the person writes it. I cause the person to write it. Okay, this is a causative. That means I cause the person to write it. Okay, in this case, means I cause the light to shine upon the person. Okay, okay. This is where um, the other thing about this imperfect here. Imperfect. You see the imperfect here? Okay, I should put this arrow a bit. Wait, I think I should just give me 1 minute. Okay. See, he feel imperfect. The imperfect here again is a continuous action, right? So when the Aaron said Ya'er Adonai, that means he's asking God to continuously shine, okay, shine his face upon the people or in the congregation. It's a continuous action. Okay. And Jasif, as you know, Jasif is expression of uh, a strong wish. Okay, it's a strong wish within the heart of the priest himself. Okay, so Ya'er Adonai Pana Eleka. Okay, Vehu Neka. Let's look at the other word here, Vehu Neka. Okay, Vehu Neka is what do you call that? It's a call imperfect. It's a call imperfect. You see the call imperfect here, call imperfect. Okay, call imperfect is actually a simple verb showing a continuous action. All right, continuous action. So vehuneka again is something to tell us that what do you call that? God being gracious to us continuously, continuously. Okay, so the meaning of this word here is favor. Basically, it is God's grace, God's favor, God's elegance. Okay, so when it's translated as gracious. You know, be gracious to you. Okay, or be gracious unto you. But it can also be translated as God's favor, right? God's favor. You remember Nehemiah when he was in the what do you call that? In the king's palace, he was actually made a cupbearer. So he actually had this favor of God, you know, because God's grace was upon him. Okay, so you can see that from here the word actually gracious is also can be translated as favor. So you can understand, you know, when Aaron blessed the people of Israel. Okay, this is the same kind of favor that Nehemiah enjoyed. Okay, so we can actually relate to this better because we can see that you know the meaning of the word Rehuneka in terms of the favor, and then we look at how God's favor was upon Nehemiah. So we can ask God for his favor. When we talk about him being gracious to us, okay, it is more than just the word gracious, you know. It is actually his favor for us. I mean, him showing the favor to us. And like I said just now, the Jasif is also a, you know, the whole thing is all in a Jasif conjugation, meaning that as an expression of a strong wish or a mild command. Okay. So here again, you know, we look at the entire verse. We say, okay, the man of God has a strong wish, okay, that the source of light, okay, the source of light, who is God himself, okay, would cast on the face of his people or his audience or his congregation and show favor to them continuously, right? Continuously. You remember Jesus, the disciples were actually flocked by you know, the religious leaders during that time. Okay, after that they were released, and then they actually saw that there was light on their face in Acts chapter 4, I think chapter 4, and then they recognized that they had been with Jesus. So Jesus, God, is the source of light. And this source of light, the man of God or the priest, okay, had this desire to see that this source of light is shining upon, okay, the face of every person in the congregation. And this is not just one time, it is continuous, it's ongoing, it's a continuous. A few thousand years ago, when this Aaronic blessing was pronounced, okay, this same effect is still happening today. Okay, this is what we can see from this verse here when we talk about the continuous tense and so on, the called imperfect and so on. Okay, and a face that is lighted up, is connected to God's grace. When Stephen was martyred, you remember they saw that his face looked like an angel, because of the ya'er, the light that was shining upon his face. They could see that he was like an angel. So this was the kind of what do you call that, understanding that we get when we look at the word ya'er. Okay. The people themselves, or Stephen the martyr himself, was not the source of the light, but God was the source of light. And this source of the light is actually made to shine upon his face. Okay, and then we look at the last verse here. Okay, Isa Adonai panav eleka ve'yashem shal eleka shalom. Okay, let's look at the word Isha. Isha Adonai, it is also a called imperfect. Okay, called imperfect means what? Imperfect means it's a continuous process. Okay, now I think you can tell already. It's a continuous, ongoing thing. Okay, right? See, it's a simple verb showing a continuous action. Okay, and it's a jasif as well. And jasif means the same thing as I mentioned earlier. It's a very strong wish that the priest had. Okay. And this, what does this tell us? This tells us that that the Lord is the one who will carry, okay, or lift us up, okay, lift up our countenance, and this he will do it continuously. He will do it continuously. Okay. Now I don't want to bore off you because all this grammar. Okay, it will take some time for you to actually understand, but I'm just giving you a feel of it. Okay, why we study grammar and why it makes a lot of difference when you study grammar and understand the word, not just superficially, but you actually understand, called imperfect, what is the meaning of that, and why justice and so on. So you see all these words, for example, shalom. Okay, shalom. Okay, you will actually translate that into absolute peace. Okay, absolute peace, welfare, or completeness. So in other words, shalom, we always say peace, peace be with you, peace be with you, right? But actually, if you look at it carefully, the word shalom, when the Hebrew person greets you shalom, okay, it means completeness. It is complete health, spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally. Okay, when we have the shalom that God gives us, is actually a complete welfare, a complete what do you call that, well-being of a person. So when you wish somebody shalom, it actually means you actually telling him, I wish you a complete well-being, your physical body, your mental, your emotional, and every part of you spiritually, it is well. Okay, so you can see when we translate it straight to the word peace, we always think of peace, no war, that's it, peace. Okay, but we forget or we do not realize that the word shalom actually means more than that. It is completeness, okay, or welfare. Okay, so as I mentioned just now, a call imperfect is a continuous action. So it is an ongoing process. Okay, it happened a few thousand years ago when Aaron said this, and it's still happening today. Okay, so this is where the Hebrew grammar tells us a lot about uh, the text itself, what it says. Most of the verbs are actually in these three verses are actually in the call or imperfect or he feel imperfect. That means it's a continuous thing, right? It's a continuous action. And the use of the word uh, Yeberekeka, okay, is a PL. Okay, it shows that it's an intensive action on Aaron's part in blessing the people of God. Okay, it's not something that you do it in Chinese to say 随便, just do it casually, but it's an intensive involvement on the part of the priest himself. Okay, and then it also shows that for example, is a positive action. Okay, which shows that God is the one who causes his light to shine on his people. Okay, it causes the light to shine on his people. Okay, and the verbs are mainly in the jussive, and that means when they invoke, when the priests invoke the blessings of God, okay, it has to be done as a desire, a strong desire or a wish, okay, a strong wish. So the Aaronic blessing requires a very intensive involvement of the priest, so it's not to be taken lightly, okay, not something that people just say and dismiss you, that's all. Okay, it is actually an involvement of the priest in a very intensive manner. So the blessings actually still applies even today. Okay, so we can still continue to bless people, and invoke God's blessings upon people, and also to wish them shalom. Okay, complete healing in all aspects of themselves, of their well-being. Okay. So the job of the priest is to invoke God's blessings, okay, which can only come from God Himself. Because you see the verbs that I use just now, that I read just now, the verbs show us that it's actually a causative. It's actually causing God causing His light to shine upon people and so on. Okay, so I would say that if for example you are actually interested in learn Hebrew, okay, it's good to start learning. Like what you're learning now, you know how to read, you're able to read slowly, okay, but I think it's good also if you can spend maybe a year or so, right, to actually enroll yourself with one of the seminaries and try to learn it proper, okay, so that you understand the grammar, right, you understand what is written in the Bible for yourself, and when you do your devotion every morning. I'm actually currently doing my devotion in Hebrew, okay, and also in Greek as well. Okay, I think if I can find the verse, I think it's in Genesis chapter 17. Okay, you will see the word Abraham. Is actually a super super there are two words superimposed, that you actually get the word Abraham, right? And actually the word, the name Abraham actually means a multitude of nations. A multitude of nations. Let me try to see if I can find it. But meanwhile, do you have any questions? Do you have any questions so far?
No. Listening for instructions.
Sorry? Anyone has any questions?
Stephen?
Yes.
Okay, I was following. Now, when you mentioned the imperfect, the kito is the same as kal, is it?
Ikto, you mean?
The imperfect tense.
Yes.
Yito is the same as kal, is it?
Kal is basically just the action. It's just
Kal
basically a verb, like a verb like that. So it's a kal imperfect. It's a kal imperfect.
Oh, kal, the meaning of kal is action.
It's something like action or verb. Or
action.
that.
A
Yeah.
verb,
Yeah.
an action verb.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. I got lost halfway. I mean, I was
Okay.
trying to
No,
look
no,
around.
no
But
worries, no
anyway,
worries.
yeah.
Uh,
But I think it's more, I think it's very important to know the prefix and the suffix and the meaning. I
yes,
mean, when you have a ye and e and a way, right? Because
yes,
it really holds a lot of meaning. Because
yes,
then we have to have the root word, and the root word can be can play a role in so many different, like bless, like you were saying, bless. Just now the bless one is what the way what is
Yevarekeka,
yeah,
Yevarekeka,
and
yeah.
then at the same time you showed another one is is it, there's only another one is also meaning blessed.
Okay. Yevarekeka Adonai, right? Right. Which one is it? That's the only one.
Uh,
That's the only word.
there's another one that is a
Barach.
bara, yeah,
Barak,
bara.
barak, yeah, barak, yeah.
The
But
same
it means
also
bless,
meaning
lah, bless, bless,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, the one I just show you because I want to show you the root word is the same root word. So in other words, in Hebrew, the different kind of verbs actually come from just one root word only.
Mm,
That means that the
mm.
three letters, like Barak or Baruch, or Yevarekeka is also part of. I mean, it is actually a conjugation of these
Uh-huh.
three letters only.
Yeah. So, but Stephen, how do you deduce that it is a call imperfect? Or is it how would you
Okay,
deduce that?
okay,
Yeah.
that is what we are all learning now. Okay, we are all learning now in the level 2. Okay, I mean,
Okay.
I have to be frank with you. I only started learning Hebrew last year, in May last year. For
Mhm.
whatever reason, I do not know. I was supposed to start learning Greek first because I had some books on Greek and I didn't have any books on Hebrew. Okay, but somehow, I started learning Hebrew and I found it's, hey, not difficult. Um, you yours took only about 2 weeks to read uh,
Yeah.
Hebrew words.
Yeah. And
I took, I think, about 2 months or so because I didn't have any guidance. I had only the internet sources and I went to all over the place to look for anything on Hebrew and so on. So it took me about, I think, about 2 to 3 months to just figure out how to actually read it. Okay, but I think that's why I find that initially when I look at the text like this, are you able to see the text now? Wait, are you able to see the text? Let me share the screen now. From here, are you able to see this text?
oh, okay. It's a bit small. Yeah. But
Okay,
suppose got to
okay,
go close.
okay. I'll make it a bit bigger. Can you see? Okay, when I look at this text here, I say, how to read. I had no idea at all. It's not even English, not even the yeah, I always say this is like a bean sprout. Some, bean sprout here, bean sprout there. I had no idea at all how to actually read it. So I went to the internet and I started learning, over a period of time. Then only I realized actually it's not difficult at all. They just go by the syllables. When you go by the syllables, right, you are able to actually read syllable by syllable. So you will be able to read the word. And when you combine the words together, you actually read the sentence. So that is why we started this, very, very basic Hebrew. Because a lot of people actually, when they look at this, they have no idea how to read it. Okay, but I'm pretty sure after 2 to 3 weeks, you already know, it actually is not difficult. Like for example, you look at this uh, syllable way, low, okay, yi, car, okay, because this yi kare, okay, this is another syllable by itself, okay, and this is silent. This is o, and with a d here, dalet here is ot, is ot. So this is this is at, this is shim ka, So these are all the syllables. all the syllables. It's actually made of the consonants, right, and the vowels. Consonants and the vowels just form the syllables. If I use the box, I think you'll probably be able to see it better. Oh, I think I will use a smaller. You will be able to see re, low, okay, and then yi, ka, re, okay, and this one is silent, so it's so actually it's oat, not okay, because this one is oat, okay, and this is at, okay, and then this is shim, ka. So by showing you all this, it makes a lot of sense. It makes it so much easier. So your learning curve is a lot easier than my learning curve last year. Okay, because at least now you have people to guide you. Okay, when I first started, I didn't have anybody to guide me. Okay, so this is where after you have already learned to read, okay, you actually start when you go for some proper Hebrew classes and so on, you actually learn, right? And all the verbs that you mentioned just now, okay, it will require you a lot of memory work as well for you to actually do it by repetition. Like what I do here, I write. I will have a piece of paper whenever I go for maybe appointments. While waiting, I will try to write, scribble, and then after that, I throw away. Okay, this is how I think we can actually make use of our time. And even 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there is a lot of time wasted while waiting for all the appointments, or sometimes when you have to pick your kids, or while waiting to cook, when you're when you're cooking, sometimes you have to make sure that the water is heated up before you can put in something, right? So the 5 minutes or 10 minutes waiting is actually wasted. If you can use it to start, writing all these words that you learn, the PL, the PAL, and all this, you will actually gradually build up your vocabulary. That's the way I normally learn. Okay, if you look at this word here, look at this word here. You know the name Abraham, okay, is the father of a multitude of nations. Okay, in English, that's all you know. Okay, you don't see how it is. The name Abraham is actually father of nations. But if you look at this one here, okay, let me use the box. You look at okay, yep, okay. You look at the original name of Abraham. Okay, okay. Af, Aleph and Beth. Af means father. Okay, father, right? Now, then you have Af here, Abraham's name, became Abraham. Af, and then you have this Ham. Okay, Ham. Where does this Ham come from? Where does this Ham come from? Abraham. It comes from here. You see, Av and Hamon. Hamon Goyim. Okay, what does this mean? Av means father. What does the Hamon mean? Hamon means multitude. Okay, Goyim means nations. So Abraham's name actually came from these two words, Av Hamon, Goyim. Okay, that's why it's father of a multitude of nations. Do you all see the thing I'm showing you? Or do you want me to repeat again? Okay, maybe I repeat this one more time, then you can see. Okay, look at the name Abram. Okay, you see this Av, right? Actually, it means father. Okay, so a lot of times we say Abba, father. Okay, it's actually Greek, but in Hebrew it's Av. Okay, look at the name Abraham here. It is actually Av and with a rash in between, right? Because there's a rash here and there's a hump here. Okay, where does it come from? It comes from here. Av, Hamon, Hamon. Okay, what is the meaning of Av, Hamon? Goyim. Av is father, right? Hamon means multitude. Okay, multitude, that means many, many. Okay, many. And then here is Goyim means nations. So a multitude of nations, a father of multitude of nations. The name Abraham actually came from these two words here, Av, Hamon, father of multitude. Okay, and then Goyim is nations. Do you see now?
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I do agree. When it comes to learning, it takes about maybe 2-3 lessons to learn the consonants and the vowels, and
Yes.
and the writing after that is the writing practice. But I think more important is when when you don't understand
That's
the
right.
vocabulary of it.
The
That
vocabulary
is where,
and the grammar as well. Yes, that's a challenge as well. I'm still struggling as well. I must say I'm still struggling as well. It's just that because I put in a lot of efforts. You know, every 5 minutes, 10 minutes here, I will make an effort to try to we learn by repetition, by writing it many times. Okay, and by writing it many times, it will actually help you. And then when you read it, then you say, oh, okay, this is what I've learned in the textbook, you know, and this is how you learn over time. Then it becomes easy. Like when I first read Numbers chapter 6, 24 to 26, the Aaronic blessing, I was also struggling also. Okay, but now at least I'm able to read. Okay, able to read. Like now, for example, if I say this word here, I'm straight away I know this is goyim. Okay, I don't really have to look at this one. This is go and this is yim. Okay, because I'm already used to it already. You know, this is goyim. Okay, and this is shemka. You know, your name. You know, your name. Okay, and then like now you know this word. Oh, sorry. This is not this is not Yahweh. This is actually
Adonai.
wait no Rehaya. Rehaya. Okay. This is not Adonai. This is Rehaya. Okay. So like this one is straight away I know this is Velo. Okay, because I have already read it so many times. Velo, Velo, and Ikar, Ikar. Okay. In fact, actually, I've been reading the book of Genesis, and for my devotion, I have come to chapter 18 already. Yeah, chapter 18. This was yesterday or the day before yesterday when I saw, hey, this is interesting. Abraham's name is actually a combination of this word Av, which is father, and Hamon. This first part of the word Hamon. So Av, Hamon, it means the father of a multitude. Okay, and Goyim means nations. So that's why you say, I have made you a father of a multitude of nations. So the word Abraham actually means father of the multitude of nations. So it's made plain to us. Okay, so normally I don't really say that the name Abraham is because God breathes in the hay into him, therefore he becomes Abraham. If you look at it here carefully, actually the name Abraham actually comes from a combination of these two words in it, Av and Hamon. Okay, Av here, and Hamon here. So it's a combination of these two words. So that is the beauty of learning Hebrew, and also the grammar as well. So I hope I have not bored all of you with the grammar part. There's nothing exciting about it. It's just we need to learn it so that we can actually understand the meaning better. In English also, I think we also learn grammar, but if we don't learn grammar, we will not be able to use the correct, we will not be able to use the correct words, to explain what we want to say. For example, when you want to say something that has already happened already, like for example, you went to the market this morning, right? You straight away say, I went to the market this morning. But if you want to say that you went to the market this morning, but instead of saying you went, you say, I will go to the market this morning. Then people will be scratching their head, I will be going to the market this morning. They won't understand what you're saying. So, but if you use a correct grammar, then they will understand. I went to the market this morning, or I am going to the market tomorrow morning. So a correct grammar is very important in the language, and that's why I say God is a perfect grammarian. And if he's a perfect grammarian, he uses it very precisely, and that's where we need to learn. We need to learn the language. If you love, if you love uh, the Lord, I think we also want to also learn the languages that he used. He was willing to use Hebrew and Greek, to communicate with the people. Okay, specifically to the people of Israel at that point in time, and Greek is to the, to the entire world during that that period of time. So this is why I say God is willing, is humble, to actually come down and be willing to use human language to communicate with us. And that's why we need to learn the grammar. Okay, so I hope this session has been useful, helpful.
Oh yeah, yes, Stephen, very helpful. But earlier you mentioned that the Old Testament was written in Hebrew.
Yes.
And the New Testament, all the New Testament, the books of New Testament, the Gospels and all that were all written in Greek.
Yes.
All.
Yes, all, yeah.
Oh, that's an eye-opener for me.
Yeah. Okay, you know why? Because, you see, I know somebody did mention to me, that the Hebrew manuscript of the New Testament, somehow because of persecution were destroyed. Therefore, there's no more Hebrew, the original Hebrew version and so on. But let me ask the question, in return. If God is powerful as he is, wouldn't he preserve the Hebrew manuscript if it existed? If it was originally written in Hebrew, it is very obvious, that it was never written in Hebrew. It was written in Greek, right? Certain portions of the New Testament may be in Aramaic. Okay, that's the other thing about this kind of thing that I'm hearing as well, is Jesus spoke in Hebrew. There are people who say that Jesus spoke in Hebrew. I dispute that because in Jesus' time, okay, Hebrew was actually used in the synagogue. Okay, they would read the Torah and the Naveen and so on in Hebrew in the synagogue. But outside of the synagogue, they would use Aramaic. Okay, Aramaic was the dialect that was actually used. So when Jesus taught the Lord's Prayer, for example, he would have used Aramaic to teach the disciples, and this is when this is taught in Aramaic, and but Aramaic is not understood by everybody during that time. And God's strategy was actually not just to confine the gospel to Israel. So he used Greek, and Greek was already there. It's a very, in fact, it's actually a lingua franca of the time. So it's like English in our modern day. It's a lingua franca. So people were able to understand Greek. In fact, the Greek that was used in the New Testament is actually what we call the common or the Koine Greek. Okay, it's a common Greek. Ordinary people understands the Koine Greek. And so God used a language that everyone, could understand. In the Old Testament, because it was only confined to Israel. Okay, but in the New Testament, the gospel has to reach the ends of the world. And so he used that language that was able to reach the ends of the world. So that is how we see it, and that's why the Greek New Testament has been preserved for us, and when we want to go back to the original language, Greek would be the thing that we would read now. Of course, the New Testament has also been translated into Hebrew. Okay, yeah, it has been translated in Hebrew, and so to me is I would read the Old Testament in Hebrew and New Testament I would read in Greek, because I'm still struggling with 66 books in the Old Testament already. So I wouldn't want to spend my time reading in the New Testament. I would rather read the original language that was used to write the New Testament. So I hope this helps us to understand, things better. Sometimes when I write, it may not be so complete. Yeah. So any other questions? If not, then I think we will end today, and maybe with a word of prayer. Any other questions?
Okay, Stephen, just not is a bit of a what detour. I mean, when you mentioned the Aaronic blessing, and that was the one that really attracted me to learn Hebrew.
Okay,
actually,
all right.
because
Okay.
it was a beautiful song.
Yes,
and,
yes.
And I was trying to figure out what are the words, the meaning, where does it fit, the English word fit into that. So, and now apparently we find that nations are singing this Aaronic blessing, or in so many nations, all those
Yes.
churches coming together,
Yeah.
and it's really like wow, how it spreads. Yeah, so like I say,
Yeah.
it's continuous action is
Yes.
complete
Yes.
action. Yeah,
Yeah.
continuous.
Yes. In fact, actually, I mean, this has been also turned into songs as well. I'm not sure which group you are in, but I did share this with one of the groups. The song is Never Rekika at Night. I'm not a singer, but I think you can actually look at it. Look in the YouTube as well.
YouTube. I went to YouTube to see that song, and it's really
Yes, it's a very beautiful song, very, very beautiful song when you sing it. Yevarekeka Adonai Veishmareka. So I wish that we can actually learn to sing as well in Hebrew. We can't do that on WhatsApp now. So yeah. Any other questions?
Stephen,
Yes.
may I know how you when you look at the word, how do you know whether it's perfective tense or imperfective, as kata or vigata? How
Okay.
do you know?
Okay. Let me share with you. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Can you see? Can you see on the right hand side of the? Can you see? Wait, let me see. Can you see on the right hand side? If I move here,
Yeah.
the words here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is what we call the Accordance Bible. Okay. Why I encourage people to use the Accordance Bible, and I actually use it a lot, is because if you use your handphone, for example, okay, you just have to put your finger on the screen, the word itself, and then the instant details will come out, like what you see on the right hand side here.
Oh, okay.
So like like here the word goyim, you can see straight away it's actually a common masculine plural absolute. So all this okay, let's say for example below, okay, let's say for example this one here. Okay. you see the word here, defiled imperfect third masculine singular. Can you see on the right hand side?
Yes. Same. Yeah.
So okay, so that actually will give you the meaning straight away. It's actually from the dictionary. It's from the dictionary or the lexicon.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It's a lexicon. Yeah.
They already tell you already lah.
Yes.
I think so far, Stephen, you mentioned I think three types. No, two types. Fail and Hefil, right? Two types of the
So far, I think I mentioned the count imperfects Yikto. There's a Hipil as well, and I think there's a Katal as well.
PL.
But I think PL, yes, PL. So in the Aaronic blessing, there's no kata. Sorry, there's no kata. It's a PL. It's a Hefil, and also it's what do you call it? Wait, let me think. There's PL, there's Hefil, and Ito as well. Ito.
Yeah, Ito.
Yeah. Ito means it's imperfect, called imperfect.
Imperfect.
Yeah.
So now there's another one. It's called Nifal.
Nifal. Okay, I show you an easy way to remember. Let me try to use the whiteboard. Just give me 1 minute. Use a whiteboard. Okay. All right. You just imagine the menorah. Okay. There are 7 branches, right? There are 7 branches. Okay. This menorah will actually have 2 sides. One is passive, and one is the active voice. Okay, active voice means if I use the verb like, for example, kick, I kick the ball. Passive means the ball was kicked by me. Okay, right? So we have active and we have passive. Okay, so I will change the color here, and then I will use typing type here. The middle one is called the hit ba'il. Okay, hit ba'il. Right, I'm not trying to confuse you, but you just get the feel of it. Huh? Okay, the hit ba'il. The first one here is a ba'al. Okay, and then this is a nifal. Okay, and then this is let me see. PL, and this is pu'al. Okay, pu'al. I will put this slightly lower here so that you can see that this is the branch. And then there's another one which is, okay, start from here first, the active one. This is a he feel, right? And this is the who file. Okay, this is whole file. All right, so okay, let me remove the hit by ill. But you can see, right, there's a whole file that's hit by ill here, right? Okay, actually, these are what we call the 7 branches or 7 classes of the verbs. Okay, in English it does not exist. Okay, in English we use different words to mean different thing in terms of intensity, in terms of the, like for example, just now I gave you the example. If I say the word is right, okay, right, I write, okay, then I cause somebody else to write. That means I dictate. Okay, okay. It's more on the more intensive already, right? Sorry, more causative already. I call somebody, and then after that there's a he feel here. That means it's there's a bit more reflexive. Okay, and then there's a hit file here, which is correspond. We use 3 different words, right? We use 3 different words in English. In Hebrew, they use just one root word, but with the different conjugations, they form different words. Okay, to mean, this is a Ba'al, this is a PL, this is Hifil, and then Hipail. So the 3 words that we know, write, dictate, and correspond. In Hebrew, they use the word katab. Okay, right? They use the 3 letters only, and then they add the conjugation, like here, katab. Okay, it's a, let me draw it for you. Okay, katab. Okay, this is basically talking about writing. Okay, this is a ba'al. Okay, right? Ba'al here is, you can see You can see from here, pa'al, okay, A, from here. So when you change this vowel here, let me use another color. Okay, when you change this vowel here, you actually can change it to the PL here. The PL here. You see the herik and the rash here. Okay, by just changing the vowel without changing the consonant, you can actually give it a different meaning. You know, in terms of the intensity, pa'al to hitpa'il, it becomes more intense. From this side, it becomes more intense. So here is, let's say you're writing, okay? This one is more of what you call that, dictating, and then here is more of corresponding. You see what I mean? In English, you have 3 different words to tell you the 3 different classes of verbs. But in Hebrew, you just use the same root letter and then just change the what do you call that, the nikud, okay? You actually get 7 classes of verbs already. Still the same, this is the same root letters, the same root word, the same shoresh, okay? But different nikud, different vowels, okay? You form different classes of verbs. And you know from here whether it's intensive or not intensive, okay? And the what do you call that, the nikud here is actually has a pattern to it, like I showed you just now, okay? The kamats and the patah here. So when you look at here, all right, you know this is a pa'al. When you look at the hirik and here, you know this is a PL, okay? So do you understand what I'm trying to say? Same root letters, okay, same root word, okay, for all these different verbs, classes of verbs. That means you don't use different words like write, dictate, and correspond to tell you the different actions or the different verbs of writing, okay? But you use different patterns of the nikud, you know, to tell you whether it's a pa'al, like the pa'al would have the hamats and the patah, the PL would have the hirik and the E here, the sere here. See, this is I and this is a E. See, the I and the EPL. Okay. So if you say the he feel, then you will have the add in the he feel here, the E. Okay, and then you can you have to change here a little bit here, and this become another word by itself. But it still has the same root letters. There's 3 letters of the same root word. So I hope I made it very clear to you. Hebrew is not difficult in that sense because it doesn't have so many words, you know. It just uses the same root word. You just add in the conjugations and to tell you a different meaning already. It will give you a different meaning already. So is that okay?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, learn a lot of things. a lot to learn.
No, actually, there's a
thanks
lot.
a lot.
There's a lot more to learn. Actually, I'm
Yes,
just
right.
giving you a few only, so that
Yes.
when you actually go for classes next time, at least you have an idea, rather than you go in there you cannot swim. Very difficult, and you give up halfway. So at least.
But your this course is very good. This very basic course at least give us a very good starting really.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
surprised that after 2 weeks I can read a little.
I took, I think, 2 or 3 months. I think I thought it was a record already, but I see you all, you know, within 2 weeks you can learn. That means it's not difficult at all. It's not difficult at all. You know, and you can actually teach this in a Sunday school. You can teach this in the youth fellowship, you know, and have some fun. I did this, you know, in a small group, you know. I was supposed to teach in a church as well, sometime in June. Okay, but because of the MCO, you know, it had to be cancelled. But I'm grateful that you know, the Lord actually made use of this time for all of you to learn.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised. I mean, yeah, very surprised. You know, a lot of you actually can start reading already. Not a problem at all. So when you look at the Hebrew text, it's no longer what they call that bean sprouts anymore.
Yeah, true. I'm surprised at all. I'm very surprised that
right. Yes. Yes.
And then because we have do you know Mandarin, Stephen?
Yes, I know Mandarin, but I cannot write or read.
Because
Yeah.
I'm bilingual. So the first lesson I'm a bit blur, but I just watched a lot of video on this.
Yes.
Wow, so confused. But after
Okay.
I attend your lessons, then I get it. What you want us to write is on using the block letters.
Yes.
So I got a good video. I think that
That's
day
right.
Anela or Pari, they post it to us also.
Yes.
So before that, actually, I watched it. So I got the idea of using the squares to write. So I can
That's
write straight away. I can master it easily.
Yes. I personally, you see, I've gone through the learning curve. I got to the learning curve. That's why I pick those things that I think the easier for you to remember.